Thanks for watching another video from skiboatpartsonline.com. My name is Ron. Today we're going to take a look at the new engine that's arrived. So if you like this video, remember to subscribe at the end and we'll keep producing more ski boat videos for you. Okay, we're going to start putting the transmission back together, the basic little service that we're doing. An interesting thing, we found the oil pickup strainer screen. This is what came out of it. There's a unique cut opening in this tube that I didn't recognize from any other screen I'd pulled out of a Borg Warner transmission before. So I called one of my friends who's an expert with these things and described to him what I was finding. And he said, that didn't sound right at all. Looked in the manuals and showed what the manuals showed, and this is just not the correct strainer screen assembly. So I ordered a new one, and this is all it's supposed to be. This threads into the back of the transmission. This tube goes into the front cover, and the screen is in between there. There's an opening between there that oil will get into to go through the screen. It's simple as that. There should be no cut open sections in here. This one that was definitely cut by hand. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not, but this was done with a, looks like maybe a Sawzall or something. But this assembly can pivot. It doesn't get tied down because when you go to tighten this, it has to stay stationary. But there's nothing that prevents this from rotating. And my concern was that this opening, as it rotates, may cause an oil starvation issue, where the factory one, you can rotate it all day long and it doesn't change the effectiveness. So we're putting in the new strainer, a new factory strainer and oil pickup. So that's what we're going to do next. Use your favorite pipe thread sealant or Teflon. So that these threads don't leak. Okay. The oil screen, nice and clean. We're going to go ahead and get some compressed air and just blow that out just to be sure. Okay, and this goes in the tube first, and there is a hole in the back of the case that will go right into. You'll feel it go in. And simply take the pickup tube and thread it in. Now we're going to get the right size wrench. Yeah, that's a 1 inch. Okay, we're going to reuse the fitting that came out, so I'm going to go do that on the vise real quick and turn this fitting. I've got tape protecting the threads. Turn this fitting off. Okay. If that broke loose, we'll blow any dirt out of it. Yeah, we'll get some Teflon on that. You know, some of the paint that's chipped off and that new fitting doesn't have paint, we'll touch some paint up here. Okay, that part's done. Alright, next is to put the motor mounts back on. And here we go. Okay, now on the transmission mount castings, the part that attaches the transmission, you need to pay attention before you remove it from the boat or move the brackets from the transmission, because these can be installed in two different directions and it creates a small offset. The center of this pin is closer to this hole than it is to that hole, and in some situations I've seen these reversed to get the proper clearances in the boat. This particular boat, it came off where the trunnion bolt was on the bottom, so that's where we're going to put it back. Trunnion to the bottom. Guten tight. Okay, there's one side. Got a little tape there on our nameplate yet. We'll leave that on in case we have to touch up some paint. Alright, let me grab the other mount. And make sure both sides are pointed the same direction. Now I'm putting the mounts on now because it is easier to lasso this thing with the overhead crane. It gives you a little something else to hang on to. The ZF gears have a casting, a hole there you can grab. The Borg Warners don't. They don't build in a lifting. Alright, this thing's about 100 pounds. Okay, that's tight. Alright, that's in, that's in. Well, the next thing, we'll actually wait till we get ready to go in the boat, but our motor mounts slide in, but before they slide in, the trunnion pinch bolts have to go in there. Now, we're having to replace one of them. One of them had a flat washer behind it, and it should have a lock washer. So we're going to take care of that. The other one had a lock nut and the threads were all folded over in here. So that one is going to have to visit the trash. Now, this goes in that lower mount. You pull the mount out, slide this in, and it will not come back out. It's called a pinch bolt. Now, I'm going to take it back out. I do like to put just a little bit of grease around there. These are cast iron. They will rust up. You don't need much, just to keep it from rusting up. We're going to put a little bit on the pinch bolt here. Put the pinch bolt back in. Okay, there's one side. and she rotates and is adjustable in and out. As soon as we tighten the pinch bolt, it'll lock it in. Now we're going to go ahead and swing this side around, do the same thing. And a new pinch bolt. The new pinch bolts we carry are stainless. Okay, pinch bolt with the nut toward the back. Easy peasy. Now the way those work, that half moon bolt, we'll just use this bad one as an example. The pinion is going right through the center of this, and as you tighten the nut, you're trying to drag or pull the half moon bolt against the side of that trunnion pin, and that's what locks it into place. Okay, this is almost ready to be reinstalled to its new engine. Before we do that, we'll show you that we want to put some grease on the splines, the input splines. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and do a little touch-up paint as we wait for the new motor to show up. Before the motor comes, we want to prepare the bilge and the motor bay for the new engine. Our new battery cables, yes, that's plural, are laid up on the side there. The new fuel line is attached. On the Chevrolets, it's going to come in on the opposite side as the Ford, so that's been rerouted and a new fuel hose is installed. Down the bilge, you see the steering cable is laying down there along with the throttle and the shift cable. Now on the American Skier Advanced models, the transmission mount to the right side is going to remain the same. We're not going to do any adjustment there because that's the same gearbox going in. But the front mount on the again on the American Skiers, that's a longer mount. Well, back in the day, we were installing both Fords and Chevrolets. Now the Ford mount would be toward the back side. You can barely see the two existing holes. But the Chevrolets, the front mount was farther forward. So that bracket, that motor bed, will accommodate both the Fords and the Chevrolets. So the new motor is going to be toward the front of that mounting pad. But I do suspect it will need some shim stock to elevate that. The Chevrolets required it, the Fords did not. Our new Marine Power engine requires two battery cables on the positive side feeding the engine. One is the heavy gauge battery cable, the traditional looking cable. The other is a small gauge wire that's required to come from the battery for the Smart Start circuit. On the left side, you'll see a inline fuse which was added. This number 14 gauge wire is attached at the battery lug and is taped along the length of the main battery cable. On the right side, you'll see it's coming out with a quick connect fitting. Well, I just got the call we've been waiting for. Marine Power called. This is the Christmas holidays, so their work schedule has been abbreviated here and there, just like ours. But that motor that is going into our boat is about to go on the test stand to be run before delivery. So we're going to sneak on out and run down to Marine Power and watch this engine run. Well, it looks like I arrived here just in time. This looks like our motor. It is on the Marine Power test stand, and they're getting ready to start this. They've got temporary ground from their battery clamped on. They've got their power clamped on. That little device there is going to be the throttle. We'll have to find a place to mount that on the engine. We'll cover that in a little bit. But it's just a kind of quick look around the motor, and then we're going to start this bad boy up and see how she sounds.
kid in a candy store, I just couldn't resist having to reach around and rev it up a couple times. Oh, she sounds good. Okay, fun and games are over. Back to work. Got the motor in the back of the truck, ready to unload it and get it dressed to put into the boat.
Okay, I've got plenty of spline grease on the splines. I've got the two studs transferred from the old bell housing to the new one for the new motor, and now we're going to line these up and shove it together. There it goes. Get a couple bolts started. All right. Alright, I've got the top two bolts snug, but to get the center bolts in, I'm going to pull the mounts back off to get those in. Well, I think it's time to wrap this episode up. Stay tuned. On the next episode, we're going to look at some features of this new marine power engine and the installation into our rare bird. So I hope you enjoyed this this video from Ski Boat Parts Online. Hope to see you on the next one, and remember to click on the little boat icon here and subscribe. So thank you and have a great day.